Welcome and good evening to all our guests across the world. This is your host, Ike Ogbuebile. I am back again this weekend. Fortunately, last weekend we had a lot going on, so it was a great show, great podcast. But this weekend we're back talking about autism again and intellectual disabilities. I told you guys at the beginning of the month that this month we're going to have families from different parts of the world come in and share their stories. Last time we had someone from Cape Verde, and today my guest is from a different part of the world entirely. And without much ado, I just want to say thank you to all of you who are supporting us. Our numbers are going up, we're doing well, and we are asking you to continue to subscribe, continue to click the like button as the show goes on, and feel free to ask questions, and your questions will be answered. My guest today is from the UAE. Please, ladies and gentlemen, welcome for the very first time on Broken Not Shattered, Miss Farah Danish. Hey, Farah, how are you?
Very good, Ike. How are you?
In the way in Dubai, am I correct?
Yes, you're right. Thank you for having me here.
Thank you. Welcome to the BNS podcast. Our topic this month is Acceptance Month for Autism, and we're going to discuss a lot of things around that path and social beliefs that people have in that part of the world. But tell us your story, introduce yourself to our audience. They're all over the world. So people from here from UK, those are from Africa, those are from other parts of the world, all watching here in America, just watching to hear what you have to say, Farah.
Well, in terms of social beliefs, that's if I understand correctly, that's your question. I am a Pakistani, but I was born and raised in the UAE, Dubai, UAE.
Okay.
So the way I see things, the way I understand things is very different from what a Pakistani living in Pakistan, how they would view it. So I've been blessed in that sense because not only is the awareness quite strong here in Dubai, the government here is doing a lot to create that, to promote awareness and to support.
Awesome.
Support in the sense, and when I say support, there's a very large expat community in Dubai. So we may not get the direct support, but we have a very strong infrastructure here and a very diverse demographic population here who come together and who support each other.
Right.
So you benefit that way, from this cultural exchange.
Right.
Yeah. And if you were to ask me, say in Pakistan, they have a lot to cover and a lot to do over there because the acceptance is still not there.
Right.
There is this belief that an autistic child, once diagnosed with autism, can't really mount to anything.
Wow.
So that child is not even given a chance.
Come to think about it, a lot of people that we know today that are big names are on the spectrum.
Yes. Yes.
The likes of the guy who owns Tesla, Moss.
Yes.
He's on the spectrum.
And
there's a lot.
Right, and in no way am I generalizing this,
Yes.
but it's like a rich man's problem in Pakistan. It is because therapy is, unfortunately, because therapy is so expensive. Not everyone can afford it, and they feel that it's a waste of money because he's not really going to mount to anything. So should I really be putting in the money on this child? So I might as well use those funds for my other neurotypical kids.
Wow.
So yeah, they miss out. Yeah.
Well, that is completely wrong because the kids and the adults who most of them that I have met are very gifted people, very gifted individuals. They have great gifts, great capabilities. They might not be neurotypical, but it doesn't make them any different. It's just that they're neurodiverse, right? And they're neurodivergent because of the way they process things. But
their strengths lie somewhere else.
Exactly, that's right. There's an expression in a different angle altogether where I have members of my family who fall under that spectrum, and these guys are like a genius. They can do great and minded things. They can remember every date in European history going back 3-4 centuries, right? That you and I most times can't even comprehend, right?
Yeah.
And so why would you now put that child in a box or label him, when he has a lot of potential. Tell us your story first, and how did you find yourself being an advocate? We want to hear your story.
Well, I I have a brother on the spectrum who's now an adult. He's 33 years old. And he was diagnosed with autism at a time when the awareness was, this is like in the 90s, early 90s, right? And I mean, even pediatricians over here, and this is in Dubai, by the way, even pediatricians in Dubai weren't really familiar with that term. They're like, there's something off about him. What it is? Yeah, seriously. And we traveled to Pakistan to get an MRI done, and I mean, it brings back memories of how difficult it was, because we didn't know what we are working with. There's no name for this. It took us a while to finally figure it out that, okay, he has autism, but then what does autism mean? Again, very limited resources. It's not like how, you have the internet now.
Right.
You just click what is autism, and you're
have no information.
lots of information. But at that time, even if somebody told you, okay, your brother has autism, what does that mean? Right. What am I expected to do with this diagnosis? So we were like basically just trying to survive every day. Let's put it that way. We were trying to survive every day. Every day presented new challenges. He was hyper, he was nonverbal. And then after that, growing up with him and the challenges of being a sibling of some, because nobody talks about, the trauma and the
yes.
family experiences as well. It's not just the autistic child who's experiencing those difficulties. The whole family goes through that.
Right.
So we were not allowed or not given a platform or opportunity to ever talk about, as a sibling or as a mother, what I'm going through with this. Right. And after I got married, my first child was on the spectrum, and I saw the signs instantly. And I went through depression. Then again, I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to be reliving this. And now in the form of my child. Wow. And it took a while for me to figure out that there must be a reason behind this, that, this diagnosis, this word autism won't leave me. Like my brother had it, and now my son have it. Wow. And I realized that God is talking to me here.
Right.
He wants me to
get involved.
Yes, to do something with this. And probably there is something in me that, can benefit this community in whatever way. That's something that I have to figure out. And that's what my journey's been like. And I devoted my time to helping families more, because I went through this. And I didn't have anyone to talk to or understand what I was going through. So I've become an autism family coach for that reason, because I advocate the family's self-care and mental health more, and well, just as much as the needs of the autistic child.
Right. So your focus is also supporting the families, because that's a big area. Everyone focuses on the child and what the child is going through, but no one takes time to look at the well-being of the other members of the family.
Primarily the mother.
Primarily the mother, who carries the bulk of it, and then even the siblings, right? Even the siblings. And so I had a guest in one of my programs called Uplift last year, and she wrote a book about her story raising her older brother, who is a person with autism, and she, the younger sister, had to stop her entire life, put it on hold, because it was just her and her brother. Her dad had passed away. Her mother was not feeling too well at the time, so it was just her and her sibling, her older sibling. And she kept on doing everything possible to balance her world as a young girl and also make it happen. And it wasn't happening. At one point, she broke down and she went to see a therapist. The therapist said, if you continue like this, he's going to lose you, and that's going to make his case worse. You need to find a way to settle him in a place where he can get the attention, and then you will provide the support. So she wrote a phenomenal book on sibling care. So I can relate to that. Yes, I'll try and see if I can get a copy of that book and send it to you. Yeah, send it to you in Dubai, so you guys can actually use it as a read. It was very deep. So based on that, your focus then is on self-care for family. How did you start getting to that point of caring for you, first of all, bearing in mind that it was a sibling, and then caring for you? Now you are a mother of a child with autism.
Well, like I said, we didn't even know how to care for my brother, let alone for ourselves at that time, right? That realization, now when you ask me that way, it took a long time. It's just very recently that I realized that as a family, and this happened when, interesting story. I was born in Dubai. I grew up in Dubai, right? And then after I had my four kids in Dubai, I realized that, I mean, we as a family decided that, we're done with therapies, running from one therapy center to another therapy center. It's financially and mentally draining. Let's do something different. And I kid you not, Ike, what we did was we just packed up and we left for Malaysia. We'd been to Malaysia before. Yeah, never been there as more than just a tourist, to be honest. Went there, loved the feel of the vibe of the place, and that's literally what we did. We packed up and we just left. I've got a lot of family in Dubai. They never, and they still don't understand why I did that. But I think those were the best years of my life mainly because I was not living according to societal expectations.
Okay.
I've got so much family and friends here, right? I've gone to school here, I've done university here. I know so many people here. So I'm always living according to expectations.
Right.
When we were in Malaysia, nobody knew us. We had to we had to
There was no
figure
pressure.
out. We could make mistakes. Who's watching?
Yeah.
Right? We could experiment when who's questioning us.
Right.
And I think that was so liberating because that is what taught us what our purpose was, to be very honest. That's when we realized that, okay, family time is important. And my kids, they got so much attention from us because we had nobody else taking our attention.
Right.
It was just them and us. And we spent 6 years over there, and most of our time over there, we did world schooling or homeschooling. I mean, world schooling sounds fancier, so I'm going to go with that. So we traveled a lot throughout Malaysia, and we always felt like we don't know how long we're going to be here. We will be heading back. This cannot be permanent because, our kids need to be around family, and families in Dubai. So we're like, this can't be permanent, but for as long as we're here, we're going to make the most of it. And my kids are not going to be in a classroom, in a four-wall classroom. They will not experience the world from a classroom. They will live it. They will see it.
Wow.
And it was it was the most amazing thing I think we did. And I'm so glad we did. I can't thank my husband enough to, share that
Experience.
strength. Yeah,
right?
that
And
experience.
how long were you guys out for?
6 years.
Wow, it's good.
Yeah. So my kids practically, they had their childhood over there. They learned, they saw so many things. And then when we came back, they didn't understand why we came back to Dubai. They're like, we were happy in Malaysia. What are we doing back in Dubai? And they're like, oh, but Dubai is home.
It's home.
Yes, Dubai is home.
I like the fact that you were able to say that while you were out, you were so liberated. And
yes,
that's another
help.
That's another part of self-care, where you actually in a place where you don't have to live up to everyone's expectation. You don't have to do things like the Joneses, or in this case, like the Danishes, right? Or like whoever it is, family that is putting that extra pressure, right? You can just be and do you, right?
And that just became an automatic way of being for us, because we were that way for 6 years. So even when we came back and we're like, oh, but you're expected to, like, no, we're not expected to, because we just became used to living that way.
Right.
And we brought that vibe or that mindset with us when we came.
That is awesome. That is awesome. I think my listeners, if you're watching, our guest today is Farah from she is Pakistani by native. She was born and raised in Dubai, and so Dubai is home for her. And she just said to us that she left Dubai and went to Malaysia and lived a different world where she was not questioned. That's self-care. I'm speaking to someone who's watching right now. Please take a step back, look at yourself, look at your life, and just live. It's only one life that you have. Farah, thank you for that piece of advice. We're going to take a break. When we come back, I'm going to ask you a question that's been on my mind for quite a while. I don't know if there's any science to it, but maybe you might be able to find out. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back on the BNM podcast, Our guest today from Dubai is Farah Danish. Welcome back to Broken Not Shattered. My guest today is Farah. She is from Dubai, and we're discussing autism and societal norms and beliefs in that area. Farah, question. Forgive me for my ignorance. Is this genetic? Because you see, from most families I've seen, there is someone else that has had it before, and then it shows up again. So what do you think?
Yeah. That's a tough one, Ike, because like in my case, my brother had it and now my son has it. So yeah, I mean, my answer would be, yeah, I guess it is genetic. But then there are also people that I know who are like, we've never seen this condition in our family. There are families like that who'll tell you that, we have no idea, nobody with that condition ever existed in our family, and now our child has it. So I don't know really the answer to that, but yes, I do feel that our lifestyle does contribute to this, the increase in autism. Um, you know, they say it's vaccination, and I don't know. I mean, there can be so many things, but I just feel that our lifestyle, there's nothing organic out there anymore. Everything is like so heavy on chemicals, and I definitely do believe that contributes to this increase in not only autism and all these other autoimmune
Yes.
diseases and all these other issues that we're seeing now.
Yeah. In America, 1 in every 36 children born
Yeah,
uh, fall under that autism spectrum.
autism spectrum.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
So
mean, it's
and
so
that's a very high number.
yeah, it's very common to sit in a circle where someone will know someone on the spectrum.
Yes, right. Yeah.
It's so common now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
1 in 36. That's a big number because the families that I know, and when we start asking questions or start talking to them, you said, you know, my nephew or my cousin or my sister had this thing that we couldn't understand when we were growing up. Now they haven't labeled it or called it a name, but the symptoms or the behavioral traits might have shown up somewhere else. And so I'm beginning to think, is this really genetic or is it just an offshoot? Well, we'll find out with time. I guess we're creating more awareness of it and more acceptance of it, that people will start looking into it. And yes, I've heard a lot of talks about the vaccinations, when the vaccinations are taken, how they are taken. That kind of most families I speak to will say to me, "Oh, my child was fine until he took those vaccinations and he just went into a dark world, or he just shut down." I don't know, but someone out there has to check this thing out and make sure we are working towards getting some kind of results so we can manage our families better.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was the question I had for you on that. So now you are in Dubai and you're working as a family coach, coaching parents. How did you get into this, and how is that working for you? And why do you think it's a good source of support in Dubai?
Well, I started off with my own personal experiences that led me to thinking that this is probably the right way to go, but that is not the intention to pivot and to focus. Families came very recently. I started off with obviously learning ABA and everything I needed to learn for my own child, to be very honest, like most moms do, right? Got myself certified and all of that. And then I decided that if I want to be good at what I'm doing, since I'm already doing it, I might as well teach. And the more I get to teach, the more different type of learners I get to interact with, I learn more, and it'll only benefit me and my child. For selfish reasons, honestly speaking, for selfish reasons, I went out, I taught, and I lived in Pakistan for a year. Again, that's where I learned about the ignorances, the social and cultural issues. That's a different story altogether.
We'll discuss some of them in a minute. We'll talk about them in a minute.
We'll talk about it, yeah. So I ran a center of my own little center. I only had about 5 kids. Yeah, 5 kids, but those 5 kids, varying needs. They all had their own requirements and needs, and I had to be a put together teacher for each of them. So I had to be regulated. I had to be in the zone all the time because there were some violent children and there were some kids who were very hyper. You had to be a different person for each of these kids, right? And it would take a lot out of me, Ike, to be that person for them. And I would see that because the moms wouldn't know any better, they weren't informed, they weren't told, kids would go back and come back the very next day completely dysregulated. So all the work you've done on the child meant nothing
Right.
because they're spending most of their time at home in
At
that
home.
whatever that
Right.
environment is.
Right.
Exactly.
Environment.
So I'm like, we're just going in circles. We're not moving forward till the families aren't educated about what role they play in this. This is just a futile attempt at working with the child.
Mm.
And when I moved to Dubai, I saw that this is not just a problem in Pakistan because it's a developing country, and I thought that this problem only exists over there.
Right.
Like, no, that problem in a lot of ways exists in Dubai as well developed, and
Mhm.
educated.
Mm.
The moms are here. They fail to recognize their role in supporting their child. So it's like, okay, we have the money and we'll just, we'll have a therapist solve this problem for us. That's not sustainable because
Mm.
each therapy session costs 500 dirhams.
Wow. How much is
Or
that? How much is that in dollars? Do you know?
okay, oh God, you're going to try me out on my maths now.
Okay,
I
sorry.
no, no, no. I would say about 100, at least between 100 and $150.
Yeah,
I
okay.
mean, it's that's still less. I
Yes,
would
yes.
say, yeah, within 100 to $200.
Wow, that's a lot of money. Hmm.
That's a lot of money, right?
Money.
So that you can't sustain that. This is not something that will go away in a year.
That's right. Yeah,
The child will need OT. The child will need speech behavior modification for a
correct.
couple of years. But if you as a parent are involved and you are informed, you're making informed decisions, you can get wherever you want to get faster.
Hmm.
It'll help your child and it'll help you as a family.
That's
Your kids,
correct. Yeah.
your other neurotypical kids and relatives will learn from you.
Awesome. Wow.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good stuff. Just share your information on the platform. Just let everyone know where to find you if they're in Dubai or anywhere else. We have people from we have audience from Qatar who watch this show.
Okay.
So just in case anybody wants to reach you, where would they find you, Farah?
They can follow me on Instagram. Ask Farah now.
Ask.
Do I need to ask Farah now? That's Farah now. It's one word.
Mhm.
Or they can my website farahdanish.com. So that's
Okay.
FARAHDANISH.com.
Okay.
And I also have my own little podcast.
Okay.
Uh, yeah, that autism coach.
Awesome. Awesome.
Uh,
So
yeah.
that's the place to find her. If you are in the area, please try and follow up with that. My question again was then you said two things. One, let's talk about this one quickly and then we'll go to the next one. And that'll be your last question if you don't mind. You said, like most moms, are you saying that most dads don't get deeply involved in this? Because that's a question for you. Let it come out from your mouth and not mine.
I no, no, you're right. You're right. Because most of the people who contact me are moms, for whatever reason. There are not that many fathers who contact, and I'm not saying it's because you know, that they're not involved. They are involved in their own ways, but moms have this tendency of, this fix-it mode that moms go into, that only we know what to do around here, and this is our responsibility. So unknowingly, like what happens is that they do push the fathers away into this role that you provide the funds and we'll do the rest. You don't know, we know what. And I do feel that that's a problem because there has to be a partnership.
Yeah.
Moms experience burnout then, and then they complain that, okay, my husband doesn't do enough. Yes, he doesn't do enough. Maybe it's,
Because you pushed him out of it.
yes, unknowingly. I mean,
Mm.
I've done that too. I have done that. So I
Wow.
am not pointing fingers at anyone. I have
Awesome.
told my husband many times when he would question me on certain therapies, or that I would always bring a new therapy and like, let's try this, let's try this. And every time he'd question, I'd be like, oh, see, he's not serious about our child's future.
Wow.
Automatically, I've judged him.
Wow.
So I've done that.
And
Uh,
how old is your son?
my son, he's 16.
Right. What's his name?
Suleiman.
Wow, that's a beautiful name. Beautiful
Yeah,
name. But you
thank
see,
you.
because the reason why I asked that question is it appears that most children who are on the ASD spectrum, ADS spectrum, sorry, are actually male.
Yeah.
So it's mostly boys, and there's something about a boy and his father. And so
Yes.
if the man is being elbowed out, consciously or subconsciously,
Yeah.
it has an impact on that relationship of that son, because he should be the one to come in and bring that light that, hey, we can do this together, because it's dad and Suleiman, it's dad and Jimmy, it's dad and John, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it doesn't mean that the man will not be there if it was his daughter. For any child, he should be there for any child. But
Yeah.
when it comes to his son, there's something about it, and then they go into denial. The man shut down and go into denial, like pretend as if
Yeah.
it doesn't exist, right?
Yeah. Men don't openly vent the way women do.
Yeah, and then
They
it builds a resentment between the parents.
yeah.
And I'm beginning to see a trend in divorce rates going up when families have a child, because they're not coming together to work on it as an issue. It's your fault, it's my fault, it's his fault. You're not listening to me, and then
You're not involved enough.
yes, exactly. There's a lot of resentment comes along with it that can actually lead to a breakdown in the relationship. I've seen
That's
it
a very,
several places.
very interesting point, Ike. I am glad you brought that up.
Yeah. And so that's why that when you talked about self-care, the alarm went off. We're going to use the last 3 minutes we have and talk about these social norms. You said
Just to add to that before, and I mean, I know you're stretched for time. The reason, I mean, I'm bringing this up is because you spoke about dads, and that's my husband, who goes by the name of autism.dad. Anyone who wants to follow him, that's what he advocates, that fathers should be just as involved, and how they can have fun with their,
so he's autism.dad.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm gonna reach out to autism.dad. Tell him what's your husband. Tell your husband that Ike is gonna reach out to him formally.
I'll do that.
I told you that my day job, I'm the CEO of an organization here in the Maryland area called Autism Ally Group, and we have a peer mentoring session where parents from all over the world log in once every third Thursday of the month from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. And we have a professional come in and they can ask as many questions. As a fact, it's happening. It's going to happen again pretty soon. So whatever happens, I want to see more fathers involved. And I want to start working with dads to get dads from. So tell autism.dad that Ike will reach out to him, and then we can start working. Because my organization is now beginning to leap out of the bounds of the US, and we're looking for partners globally. We're just about to go into a relationship with Her Royal Highness Queen Silver of Buganda to work with her foundation to help children who are neurodiverse in Uganda. And I hope that relationship will will birth a lot of great things so we can do great work in Uganda. And we're also looking at work we can do also in Nigeria. Hopefully, we can see ourselves in the UAE and see how we can partner with you and also autism.dad. Because I think the bigger the community, the safer it is for the children.
Absolutely.
Let's talk about the social challenges. In Africa, it's seen as if it's a taboo, and the kids are being made to feel as if there's something spiritually wrong with them. So they either try to beat it out of them or they try to pray it out of them. Do you guys see the same thing in your part of the world?
In UAE, no, because like I said, there is so much awareness, so much talk about it. And the government very heavily, supports these causes in the sense that, gives them a voice, gives them a platform to, talk about autism. And most of the theme parks over here are autism friendly. Dubai airport is autism friendly.
How does that work?
basically, you get to wear a lanyard which says that you are on the spectrum. So anyone who spots you with that on, with that identification on, you are given immediate help or care. Anything you might need, they
Wow.
will ensure that it's done. You're fast tracked. And if you're at a theme park, if there's a quiet room your child needs access to, a sensory room your child needs access to, they will make sure that that's made available to
So they
you.
built sensory rooms in Dubai for the
Yes,
children.
yes, they have it at the airport too. Yeah.
Oh, that's
Quiet rooms. They call it quiet rooms.
right, right.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. And so in Pakistan,
In Pakistan, that's not there. But having said that, at the airport in Pakistan, in both Karachi and Lahore, two different cities, both the airports, when we would go up to the authorities and let them know that our son is on the spectrum, they would fast track us. So okay, so they don't have a system in place, but they were very empathetic.
okay.
They understood our situation, and they, whatever help that they could provide, they did that.
Oh,
Yeah, but it would be better if they had a proper system in
system in
place.
place. System in
Yeah,
place.
yeah.
Farah, thank you so much for your time. I will definitely bring you back. I think what I'm going to try and do is going to try and get about 3 or 4 parents all together at the same time.
Yeah,
And
that sounds
you
like
want me to
fun.
come to your podcast, just let me know. I'll come and say a few words. All right. So all
Thank
the way
you.
from Dubai, on behalf of my entire audience who are watching, they're gonna be asking questions. So feel free to respond to the questions later on when you have a minute.
Yeah.
It's going to be. I promise you that this relationship will continue to build on it to ensure that you guys get the support we can, and any way we can partner together to help families and friends and loved ones who are on the spectrum to get all the first awareness and in some cases the acceptance to become all that God has made them to come. Keep up the good work. I truly, truly appreciate you.
Thank you. And
Thank you so
same
much.
to you. Love what you do, and lots of support, lots of prayers your way, Ike.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I like that. Lots of prayers your way. That goes a long
We
way.
all need it.
Thank you. Thank you
Okay.
so much. I truly appreciate it. All right. On behalf of on behalf of the VNS podcast, I just want to say a big thank you for all our guests watching today. Please join us next Sunday as we have another guest who's going to come in and share with us something important that we can also learn. But if you are out there, please subscribe to our channel. The more subscriptions we get, the more content we produce, and the better we become and expand the message that we actually of hope, giving voice to the voiceless, hope to the hopeless, and sharing everyone's journey and everyone's story. So, in my famous 3 words, on behalf of myself and my wonderful guest, Farah from Dubai, it is love, peace, and more grace. See you
Love
guys
it. Thank you.
next week. Thank you.
Bye.